Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Air Check and Classic TV channel.
Hi, I'm Gene Weed, back with Hour 2 of our American Bandstand 30th Anniversary Celebration. On Friday, October 30th on the ABC television network, there will be a gala special in tribute to the 30th anniversary of American Bandstand. And on that 3-hour show, you just might see some wide contrasts among male vocal groups, especially between East and West. Let's begin on the East Coast, where perhaps the epitome of early rock was doo-wop street corner harmonizing, as best exemplified by a group of kids from Belmont Avenue in the Bronx, who were led by a young man who made his debut at the age of 11 on the old Paul Whiteman radio show.
Well, this is a sort of what are they doing now. Dion DiMucci is now a born-again Christian, a very happy man. He does strictly gospel music. He's very successful. He will occasionally reprise the old songs, but my fondest recollection of him was as a very shy teenager who used to sing with his friends in subways and boys' rooms where the echo came off the tiles and they created that doo-wop sound, typical New York sound. It was their trademark. Dion and the Belmonts.
Run Around Sue, it's a funny bit. It was written about a girl named Dolores. You know, she was... I couldn't rhyme it with anything but Lavorus or... there's other couple of words which I can't... But Run Around Sue was the good, about the rhyme that gave us True and... You and I Feel Blue, and that was it. We had the song, Pat, recorded.
Here's my story, it's sad but true.
Number 1 for Dion back in 1961, Run Around Sue. Now that was an example of what happens when a bunch of guys gather around a teeming big city street corner and start harmonizing. But out on the beach in California, there are no street corners. So obviously the kind of harmony developed by Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys was quite different.
Can we go way back chronologically to begin with when it all started? What started the Beach Boys?
Well, Dick, it was a number of things. One thing, of course, was my brother Dennis, who was a surfer at that time. And he came home one day from school and said, "Hey, Brian, write a song about surfing. Everybody would love it because they're all surfing,
Did you know anything about surfing?
I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it.
Is it true you've never been on a surfboard?
Yeah, I have been on a surfboard. I was on a surfboard once and I almost got my head cut off. The board just missed my head. The tip of the board whizzed past my head and I was scared to death. I never got on again.
I love the colorful clothes you wear.
The sounds of summers past became one of the biggest sounds of this past summer. The Beach Boys with the Beach Boys Medley. Coming up next, Dick Clark salutes the first man to put Bandstand in the lyrics of a song when our 30th anniversary salute continues. Our American Bandstand 30th Anniversary celebration continues now with a frequent bandstand visitor whose patented duck walk wasn't the only thing that made his first entrance on the show very memorable.
A fellow I revere and hold as a very close professional friend. He immortalized Bandstand in the lyrics of a song that we played for the first time, obviously, because we were so tickled to death that he did it. He was a giant star then as he is today, but listen carefully. And you hear what Chuck Berry had to say about dancing in Philadelphia on Bandstand. Sweet Little 16.
They're really rocking in Boston and Pittsburgh, PA. Sweet Little 16.
From 1958, Chuck Berry paying homage to Philadelphia and American Bandstand. Sweet Little 16. Chuck was one of the biggest stars of his day to appear on Bandstand. But some of the show's superstars couldn't even sing. We'll meet a few of those when our 30th anniversary salute continues. We're back with our American Bandstand 30th anniversary celebration. Name practically any celebrity from the world of popular music, and chances are they've appeared on American Bandstand. But many of Bandstand's guests have become celebrities even though they couldn't sing a note of music. The dancers.
Everybody could identify with the people they saw. Bob and Justine, Kenny and Arlene, Pat and Mama Terry, Charlie Hibbib, the man with the rubber legs. These were all Philadelphia kids. And they became the recipients of over 15,000 pieces of mail a week. They were celebrities. They were on the front of teenage magazines.
Where was that last couple, please? The girl I was working on. Would you come here as soon as you're ready? May I have your name and your age, please?
Jackie 40, 15.
Kevin Short, 15. Deborah Antonio, 15.
Kitty has a 16, 17.
You want to try another one? Pick any age. What happened to the other gal and her partner? How about this gentleman here? You got a partner? Gonna take you forever, or can you do it quickly? You all ready? All right. We'll just take a half. What I promised you a slow one, didn't I? Yeah. All right. May I have your name and age, please?
Vincent Pia, 14 years old. Mary DeVito, 15.
Thank you. I've forgotten what the record is, but I guarantee it's slow. Okay?
Slow dancing isn't dead. Diana Ross and Lionel Richie with a #1 song from this year, Endless Love. As you know, Lionel Richie is the lead singer of the Commodores, and Diana Ross has been hailed as a singer, an actress, and a total entertainer since leaving the Supremes. We asked Dick Clark if anyone recognized Diana's superstar potential back in the days when she and the Supremes were performing on Bandstand.
As a matter of fact, somebody asked me, did I think that the lead singer would ever become a superstar? Did I know that at the time? You know what? I think I really did. Because she had a magic then that she has now, these few years later. You knew she had to go off on her own because she was magic the minute she walked on the stage. Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Diana Ross and the Supremes with their biggest hit of all time, Baby Love. It's from 1964. We'll hear from one of the few and certainly the most famous of the artists who never appeared on American Bandstand when our 30th anniversary salute continues. Welcome once again to our American Bandstand 30th anniversary celebration. In the upcoming television special, you'll see clips of Dick Clark welcoming practically every musical superstar of the past 30 years to Bandstand. But now as then, one superstar will be conspicuous in his absence.
You're right, Gene. As a matter of fact, it seems like everybody in the music world is appearing on the 30th anniversary of American Bandstand television special this year, but there was one man, the King, who never appeared on the regular show, mainly because I don't think Colonel Tom Parker fancied the idea of his getting paid a scale fee of $155. However, we did talk to Elvis Presley when he went into the service with great regularity on the telephone to keep his audience aware of what he was doing and, of course, to help promote the sale of the records. That was Colonel Parker's idea, not a bad one at that. As a matter of fact, on the occasion of another Bandstand anniversary, I talked to him in Germany.
Hello, Elvis.
Hello, Dick. How are you?
We've had a little trouble getting through to Germany, but finally glad that we could make it.
I guess the lines were kind of busy, huh?
I imagine so, and I would imagine they've got you kind of busy these days, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're getting ready for a big inspection, you know.
Well, Elvis, I've got some good news. I imagine by now they've passed the word along to you. With the latest RCA Victor recording out, you got yourself another gold record to add to the collection.
Well, that's great, Dick. Sure is nice.
Elvis, do you have any idea of how many gold records you have now in your collection?
To my knowledge, Dick, this one will make 31, I think.
Oh, that is a fantastic record. There's no getting away from it.
The one and only incredible Elvis from 1960, and it's now or never. You know, because Dick's seen them all on Bandstand during the last 3 decades, we asked him whether there'd ever be any more mammoth superstars like Elvis or the Beatles.
Musically, it's going to be awful hard to find another Beatles or Elvis Presley because we've come a long way in 30 years of popular music so that the audience is divided off into little slivers of special interest. As close as we came in recent years was a man who captured a middle-of-the-road listening audience, a country audience, a rock and roll audience, and strangely enough, a man who made his debut on American Bandstand as a teenager became probably the biggest star of the 80s, Kenny Rogers.
In a bar in Toledo, across from the depot, I've had some bad times.
That's Kenny Rogers and Lucille. You know, Dick Clark's contribution to American music isn't limited solely to Bandstand. He's even helped write a song or two, as we'll hear right after this when our 30th anniversary salute returns. Our American Bandstand 30th anniversary celebration continues. You know, no one really remembers the name of the first song ever played on Bandstand back in 1952, and the last, well, that's years, maybe decades away. But in between the first and the last, there will have been a couple of songs creatively customized by none other than Dick Clark.
My major contribution to rock and roll memorabilia in the songwriting was a title I wrote once. Some fellas brought me a song, and it was all about the rage of doing the bop. And that was the dance of the day in the late 50s. And I said, you know, the dance has hit its peak. But one thing is, we are all going to record dances. They're called record hops. Why don't you call the thing At the Hop?
Number one for Danny and the Juniors back in 1958, At the Hop. Now, that one wasn't the only song to benefit from the creative input of Dick Clark.
In those days, I was more involved in the making of records than I am nowadays, and I can remember it vividly, sitting in the kitchen of the man who ran the record company, and they played me this song on the phone from Boston. As I recall, it was written by his mother. And I said, you know, it's good, but it doesn't, and we didn't have hooks in those days, but I said, it needs something, and it became the hook of the song, and what I did was beat on the kitchen floor, and I said, emphasize the bass drum. And that became part of it, that and the woo!
The most exciting thing that could ever happen to anyone at that time was to be on your show, because that show was such a huge, monstrous show, as it is today.
Freddie Cannon, the man who sang Tallahassee Lassie back in 1959, recalling his first appearance on American Bandstand. We'll be right back with a couple more singer-songwriters who've made a lasting impression on popular music. We're back with our American Bandstand 30th anniversary celebration. Time now to contrast the styles of a couple of artists with two things in common. They were both guests on American Bandstand, and they were both poets. We begin in the 50s with Neil Sedaka.
When Neil Sedaka came along, he was an unusual teen idol, and he was indeed a true teen idol, but he followed in the footsteps of Frankie Avalon and Fabian, Rick Nelson, and Elvis Presley. He was a studious, serious Juilliard school musician who broke the mold and became one of the most popular songwriters of our day. And of course, he made his initial debut on the American Bandstand singing this song.
I remember when I did "Oh Carol," and I sang to Carol, and I got all the mail saying, "Oh, you sang to Carol on the Dick Clark show. Oh Carol, isn't that something?" It was a lot of things. You've been very nice, and I tell the kids when they see your shows, all the shows and things on television, I tell the kids that you were responsible.
Neil's just one of the poets who've appeared on American Bandstand. Dick Clark remembers another.
All kinds of people have appeared on the show. White, black, male, female, jazz artists, country artists, rock and rollers. People think an awful lot of the raucous rock and rollers, but there was one man who was a poet. He was a thinking man's writer and a thinking man's performer. I miss him because he had a very unique style of singing and storytelling. Harry Chapin.
A child arrived just the other day.
Number one for the late Harry Chapin back in 1974, Cats in the Cradle. I'm Gene Weed, and we'll be back with more great music and special surprises, including Raider Record and enough dances to keep you on your toes throughout the next hour of our American Bandstand 30th anniversary celebration.